don't mean to be fine.
Okay.
Nhyira Friday here. Me who say fatilo di bibi at on TikTok. O see soundtrack na ko say Friday no so who ska join na nipa nche na wako. Nhyira Friday dem show. Ani je no enye no nko ne enamore ne zanyima nyima no. Enye no nko ne nsanom sorry.
Sure.
Ebi at say me open nam. Ti mom peki back akrama o. Ani moku ne je ne bebre. Je ne ye. Na ebia nso we Coca-Cola advert na ebia Coca-Cola ka
onya coke bi
na esinche
a share
ebia wo mpe na ehie ni mempe no bi na wabo egu so no relax ebia wo no pe duane bi emu bi ne froye bi di oye adwuma nkwa de tore bia na wadidi kakra na bibia fine the region self for fudi kesi so na yema asantema nyina yakọ mado ade atey nyina yeni eni otikoko ani ni yenim se yenya wa bi ebe ta otikoko echi na bibia kama na eno no mo start ye badoti ye no so be koso ye bi di akire na bibia kama ye ko na Rich, you see, I think that's Macamfo a lot of the things that Barcelona have done with respect to or more financial creativity, you know, especially since still Barca are still not 1:1. And in fact, for almost everybody that has followed this Barca financial issues cleanly, you know, or when him say there is a very high likelihood say Barca may not even get there 1:1. One, the stadium issue of the Spotify camp now, even after say Barca don't play Sebina, Jiskebia Bemuno, still they are not there. And then me baby bisa say after say it looks as if the reports are that it is clear say Barca are going to extend the contract of Frankie de Jong. What should they do? Now, Anope, in a pre-match presser ahead of Levante, Hansi Dieter Flick has spoken. He has spoken about Marc Casadó, spoken about Fermin Lopez, and it's our Barca players now. Omaya linked to a move outside of the club. But let's start with this. In front of Sport said there's going to be a crunch meeting between Juan Laporta and Deco to finalize the final outgoings of a transfer window, no? And to see how things are going to go on from there. And now, there was huge links between our branch friend and Marc Casadó to Girona and even Marseille. What we are hearing is that Roberto Di Zerbi at Marseille is very much interested in our branch friend Marc Casadó, and he is good. Whatever we say about Frankie de Jong, he has that potential to get to the levels of Frankie de Jong, although he's not there. And now Girona Fono have asked questions about him. But in all of that, for me, I look at it in the view of Rich. Sikana Bas and Peno to be financial independent now. Say, Oman Tom players, Akesia and yes, Kakesia, can they get out of it?
But at the same time, open result.
But this is a position where you have two of the best. Plus, also backup, me and age group, no. Two of also the best. I'm talking about Pedri and Frankie de Jong, and also Marc Bernal and Marc Casadó.
But so we Barca for now. I'm gonna say, okay, Siciano, you need to get the top big class. But the air on the input too.
No, I'm relax. Me be on say, Barca for Frankie de Jong.
Yeah.
Omo Pedri. And in every team we see, so same position. Or surplus of 2. Maybe also usually open surplus of 1.
Yeah.
Surplus of 2. So we see Pampa open Akuko and Omo Yadia. Then sell them and get big money. Because Rich, and that's I'm asking you any Barca phone now. And me pese Barca for be man. Do you think say Barca can get out of where they are financially? Because up to now, the VIP seats have still not been approved. Barca don't exactly know when they will play at the Spotify Camp Nou. In fact, UEFA and NRA have given Barca the approval to be able to play away games in the Champions League. A week from NRA, you better the UEFA League phase draw. So draw this year, all the games Barca will play in the opening games are going to be away from home. But still, they are not there.
Me I don't think just Barca and Tom players as no money.
Then tell me how. How are they going to make that money?
You take stringent measures.
How?
Ebini say. Now, Oma catch the coach say, look, you need to care the top big players the amount. into the way fire juma.
But how long have Barca been doing that? But they are still not independent financially.
And kakra. So we to solve problem in Nigeria.
Yes, but Oma Yesadi, you know, for at least 3-4 seasons.
I understand. Oma to leverage near the day.
Yeah.
Still no to solve problem. But what I'm saying is that Barca as a team. Sebi. And also just a young toy players na.
There be any na.
Midim Saba. So okay, so I'm to my copy. It means that say na Barca to say any season, you know, whatever result be emphasized.
No, because and yes, I actually. Who told Frankie de Jong? Frankie de Jong is number 1.
Why do you have to sell Frankie de Jong?
Menka said to Frankie de Jong. Me say Frankie de Jong is a starter. You don't sell Frankie. You don't sell Pedri. He's a starter. But you have 2 surplus in Marc and Marc Casadó. These are young players in there. Yes. Marseille is there. In fact, and I not pay. Me say Hansi Flick has been asked about Casadó. And in that crunch meeting that Barca are going to do, Casadó is the main topic. Bernal, what I'm picking is that Bernal, the man assurance said they want to stick with Bernal. It may be Casadó. They sold Pablo Torre, Monesa, and Crown. They sold some of those boys. But Pablo Torre will not command the fee that Casadó will command. And that's why I stand say, can Barca really get there? Me paying for divergent opinions.
Me who say Barca situation no move. I'm managing them very well.
Very well.
And you know, make us say, and then necessary Barca and Tunton Akokobedi. Because I'm to turn leverage near there. So now problems, you know, I'm going to solve winning. And kakra. Mimi few say, to say they're not president, they catch the coach, you know. Kakra, I wanna no, young from Yajuma. He didn't cut big players because he this car. Let's maintain them. Let me be kakra outside the fold. You bet me at Kakra to sustain at the club. No more, no.
Which, sir,
because at this point, I don't think say, sir, Marc Benel on the minute.
You get good money for Casadó. Obenya good money. And then in the market, will be Baleba 100 million plus. But Casadó, you get good money. You don't get 100 million, but you get good money.
I don't 100. I know we have it.
And I make us say, but you get good money for them. It is good money.
You see, Rich, 2030.
No, but 2030 is good enough for Barca, because some candidates taking and some I can't say, oh, the salary need wages, free books. It's just about 40% of the salary. And yes, Kevia, some candidates taking even 12 million a year. 40% of that you're saying 3 million. It's no money.
So, who is a sport in what moment?
You see. And yes,
Barcelona a result-oriented team.
There is no club in the world that's not result-oriented. Club will be a
a typical example is your team.
No problem. I'm not doing that with you. Club will be a the first thing that they do is the sporting side, is the result on the pitch. Then after that, you look at things like business. The last time I Leeds United for President Taker, what he's saying is that the first thing is that the results on the pitch, even Leeds United. What I'm saying is that even the biggest clubs in the world, you have to sell at some point in time. Because what are the ways that clubs make money in the modern day? 1, player sales. 2, gate proceeds. You as a club only gate proceeds. 2, also player sales. You're not selling the players. Can you really get out of it from levels are essentially loans? Let me tell you one strategic thing that Barca have done, and now, me sure say what to say Barca for now extending the contract of Jules Koundé, right? They've extended the contract to 2030. You're 2025. So it means that he has 5 more years on his contract. Now, it is 2 more years plus the original 5 years. No, yeah, you know. Although we have 2 years every it's not 3. Now, so let me clean this off your screen. Let me use the whiteboard and I explain what I want to say. Rich, what Barca team number? Barca photo Jules Koundé 50 million. 50 million. And they signed him for 5 years. What it means is that they be a amortization now. Barca we're going to pay 10 million on the books for 5 years. Oh, hold on. Anyway, 2 years, I got 3 years. So it means that almost just a little bit more from there. I got 3 years from there. It's Barca's contract extension now my year for him for 5 years now. Sikana on the books now. What they are going to do, instead of paying 10 million on the books for Jules Koundé, they will pay 4 million on the books because I got 20 million and then they've extended it divided by 5, paying 4 million. So that's a smart way from Football Club Barcelona managing the issues in terms of finances. Smart way. And I'm talking about this away from wages, away from signing money, purely the cost of the player. So I think think that maybe Barca would have to look for a truce somewhere. Some of those very, very good players, they have to let them go. Oh, message is Mamiana.
I'll say Rich is not getting what Fiifi is saying. Barcelona need money to solve a problem. For them to play games in their stadium. That is what Fiifi is saying. They
need to raise money, generally. And one of the key ways is about selling.
No, and make us Barca problem and starting there.
It started before
Laporte. 5 years ago.
But he still not come out of it.
Which Barca team has to manage this situation. So me sure say a problem beyond Barcelona.
No, I'm not saying it's beyond them. It's within their right.
And
they've done even very well with that. But can say at this point in time, in managing all of that, and of course, maybe we will not agree with that, but I think say Edu baby a players bit say Casadó mun kran feel amasi abanom you good enough now. Let them go elsewhere, take good money, and then reinvest it in the club. Now, the real because Hansi Dieter Flick, they'll say he wants Casadó to stay. Casadó now, crowd, what I hear is that he doesn't even want to leave the club, but they are focusing on Levante match now, because over the weekend. We'll see. Barca for inform Tottenham, sure. Then let's see if they want Levante to go or not. Rich, first game at the Parc des Princes and Nhyira for Paris Saint-Germain playing against Angers. Now, it is part of and then Nhyira games at Ecosono. There is a big game today in the French Ligue, big game in the German Bundesliga, and a big game. I mean, this cannot call it a big game also. Our English Premier League game at the London Olympic Stadium. But essentially, games are Ecoso on a Friday night. Open board to say media. Then you can just tuck in, unya drink, kibino nambia. Then you enjoy your football games nicely. Rich, Paris Saint-Germain for the first game. Almost away. Almost just by a goal to 0. And Oshe team on the course I gave him. It was literally a second choice Paris Saint-Germain team. And your Paris Saint-Germain team are about consistently out to be okay, this is the team that will go in and go and play the matches. It's not that team. It was a weekend side. This time it's at home at the Parc des Princes against Angers. Nhyira and they say it's a full squad for them. Now, how many Angers won up for a lot? In fact, the last time we listened to Angers at home was in 1974. So Paris Saint-Germain are good in that regard. Getting anybody in, I expect say will fear there. Obi a part. Ashraf Hakimi, Barado, Marquinhos, Zabani, Fabian Ruiz, Gonzalo Ramos, Dembele, Due, Vitinha, Lee Can In, Leo Hernandez, Lucas Hernandez, Nuno Mendes, Bakola, Chevalier, Wayne Emily, Savanov, Camara, Mbaye, Pacho, Jean Neves, and Renato Marin are on there. I expect Paris Saint-Germain will win today and an over 1.5. It was a game away from home. Rich, buying for a bonnet. We said last weekend, and I'm buying any student aboard the France Beckenbauer Super Cup game to open the German Bundesliga season. And in that game, they had been good. I think one of the teams that ended a very, very good preseason has been Vincent Kompany Bayern Munich inside. Bayern's are injuries no preseason, but games they've played have been good. In fact, Oko so far score or wherever and look at their last games on my bar. And you green from there. Especially after that loss against Paris Saint-Germain. They've been growing into it very well. You himself Luis Diaz go inside game against Stuttgart. They have Michael Olise and they are looking to add more in terms of quality. Only said Leipzig last season, man qualify. The very first time since 2016-2017, Leipzig for qualifying Concobo Europe. And of course, Omaton, a very important player and a branch friend Benjamin Sesko. They are going to start the season. And now Leipzig former manager said, Abrantia, your friend Xavi Simons is going to play in that game. Also, Onim said there are links between Ono and Chelsea Football Club and his signing money, but he expects that it's going to be there. Rich, in that game, I'm expecting that Bayern at home wins that game with some goals and over 1.5 over 2.5 Elofie, because Bayern hardly lose Elofie in the opening game of the season. In almost every game you are buying Arsenal, there is a 2+ goals margin. And away from that, although gave me a difficult because Leipzig for no bread, I expect Bayern for no going. Rich, you didn't come on about Nkunkumo. Do you know that last night, Rich? The report from Germany that came was that Leipzig want to say if Chelsea are willing to pay 60 million for Xavi Simons, they will take the 40 million for branch friend Christopher Nkunku. I found that very, very interesting because I've said several times that I think that Xavi Simons is done. The only problem is that it keeps on dragging. Financially, Chelsea for G2 said they need to make sure say this deal is sorted before say Abrante friend Javi Simons Ebeba. And yes, they will keep on holding on to it. And now Chelsea for had good news. I told you that one of the ways baby Ababedruno. A lot of the people who did not trust the Chelsea sporting directors in the management of almost scored, have all of them they are now beginning to accept what they want to do. But the sporting directors are at a crucial point where Oman Sheni because Obiama fans say they will take a lot of players on loan, and some players, the one in this case is here. And I said the last time, the first one is in Nkunku. There is no way to take loan, especially without an obligation to buy. Contractual issues you don't take that for Nkunku. Again, some player next one, branch your friend Kani Chukwuemeka. Dortmund had come 2 or 3 times for Kani Chukwuemeka on loan. Chelsea Fonica Chom said Debbie. Yesterday, in a smart and creative way, Chelsea Fono are managing to sell a branch your friend Kani Chukwuemeka for 20 million, 5 million add-ons. Of course, some bonuses and also a percentage sell-on clause on our branch friend Kani Chukwuemeka, and of course, almost a moment to swap with our branch friend Aaron and Sumino on loan. Until Aaron will go to Dortmund to play on loan, but then Dortmund will buy Kani Chukwuemeka as a permanent player. A player Niko Kovac has been very much interested in and always wanted in. Chelsea are finally closing the deal for our branch friend Kani Chukwuemeka. Which I heard some news last night. I was tempted not to believe it. What I'm hearing, they said there are about 4 clubs that are fighting over Nicholas Jackson. What was that news?
It's Bayern,
Aston Villa, Newcastle.
Say Newcastle then crowd the Benra.
Yeah.
And open a Bayern and Aston Villa.
They said in the background, no, Obiaku and now it looks as if say Macassim will happen. See, Nicholas Jackson, the football father, Unai Emery. So in terms of personal and community money, he won't have a problem. Because Unai Emery Agakoye, ne papa, he always want to go to him and ask him to come in. So if Aston Villa are leading it in that area, Chelsea for say the price for Nicholas Jackson is going to depend on the current market price for strikers. Inti Obi Atam Nisika 75 million a Leipzig to Benjamin Sesko. Only Premier League experience. Nani team went to call Anthony Timan qualify Krankan Kobo Europe. Now last season said 13 goals or say the season before that 10 or say no all say that you're good enough a player, but because of marketing and hype, who just 75 million there, then if you come to Nicholas Jackson, you will pay good money.
But you start here now.
I'm doing my analysis. You will pay good money.
Because what shall I say through
Nicholas Jackson, that's my analysis of the situation.
Oh no, hold on. Me percent yet for near her for no. Etia says what started through shade no. And shade now would through no. Some to be a more bianca.
Where you shade?
You see, problem I no one say. Anytime Bia over concept, no unya team Bia, example say only me between
them. Now what about myself 75 Bia, Nicholas Jackson say
Jackson.
Annie.
At the end of Jackson say
80.
Nicholas Jackson.
Annie.
Player now one Casa Mumpen on the end of 80.
They can't just see Peru.
Nicholas Jackson.
Annie.
Oh, come on.
You can't just see Peru.
Oh, true shade saying I'm going to be busy. And I'm Casami Mount Casa.
Nasa no.
Examples be obviously. Strikers are for Cototoa. I asked for Kofa Gokers by.
But Gokers ni goes. The numbers no so.
The numbers. In the Portuguese league.
By better than German Bundesliga was 13 goals. German Bundesliga was 13 goals.
Oh, coffee. So would you when you say Bundesliga no? You're reaching ahead of the Portuguese.
Yeah,
it is over 12 goals to all the man.
But when I say 40 or Portugal, and I will talk now. 20 no better. So I will try Carlo there. Oh, Nuru Honyan to was in fa. Say ya na Rasmus Holland. Oh yeah, to see a baby Nako. Munya baby crown fanenko. So take your time. And then you may your match against West Ham United. Okay. It's not going to be an easy game for Chelsea Football Club. Meaning say Chelsea Foni Bebre will look at the game that West Ham played against Sunderland and think that it's going to be a straightforward game. Rich, when I saw this graphic, I was excited. Chelsea Foni are going back to more retro days. Meaning, Chelsea, I want to ask you. So who saw Chelsea jersey, black jersey, third jersey we are? Which old player does it remind you of? Which Chelsea player that Bena Jesse will remind you of? Me the Nicholas Anelka Didier Drogba. These are the correct Jesse. Remember Diego Mro Wakwana. Or this year about Pius Crampo send a cash see and to Jesse Ma Obano. It's only the best way be Nadiamano. Why? Also, me told me you never cool. You know.
That's just where them shall go.
See a Toma, Brian, and you only talk about
now. Or said the number is one or what have you?
Set us the bomb. I said, I know.
No, me mean not.
No, that's why I could pop. Enzo Maresca pre-match press conference. I think he said some very interesting thing. I'm sure you heard this news. Yes, Chelsea for no Manchester United anymore started in command about Garnacho. Man United representatives say, oh, say Chelsea pay Garnacho there, and you almost open Andre Santos. United open Andre Santos.
On your football.
And this Santos say, what do you grab by your toe? And that way, what is scam grab by your toe about? No more play. I'm co boys that I need. I'm for now. This Santos here, told him in Enzo Maresca's pre-match press conference. The good news is that Wesley Fofana are back. Tosin Adrabia are back. Maresca say the strikers depending on the game state and obehuni on anybody. Or say Liam Delap are good with spaces. You can several times. It teams are pressing. Born space they don't much so. Liam Delap a bit messy one, but in tight spaces. He will prefer Abrantia, your friend Joao Pedro. West Ham game, like I said, it is a game that came against the round of play. 3 goals almost conceded, it came against the round of play because Tosin Adrabia back into the team. I expect him to start. Which I also think they say Liam Delap is starting match. Okay. I say Liam Delap a Boboni because West Ham for they won't sit as deep because of Mubofie. So they won't sit too deep like Crystal Palace. So it means that there will be some spaces. I would love even for him to play Joao Pedro and Liam Delap in that team. I want to focus on Stavao when starting match because of the 15 minutes against Crystal Palace. Yes, he was good, but I don't think Stavao should start in this match. Okay. I'd rather want the 2 senior attackers. No,
yes, that's in Kobe.
There be Enzo Maresca say on Nyari Obeko trip because
so now it's clear.
Transfers are born at home. Oh yeah, he's out. He's out. I don't just see him penal. So Obeko baby.
Into Mumra form.
Which, realistically, how much will you sell Nicolas Jackson?
Goodfellow say Jackson is worth £85 million.
Goodfellow grass 85.
Plus 30%.
Sell on cross. Goodfellow
say Jackson there 30-40. It's okay.
Rich, Jackson 30-40.
30-40. Onye BBO Premier League.
Rich, ask him. I tell you about like what should I know when he can. How is Jackson 30-40?
Why are they in the Premier League?
He has qualified for the Champions League. Waji Conference League.
Qualification.
Waji World Cup. Now who players want to qualify for Champions League?
Is it the qualification in the animal players boy?
No.
Transfer market.
Now you want visa dead way.
Why?
You want visa dead way.
I say new visa on come.
Me say me boss strikers are attackers are Premier League. Mateus Cunha ko fan by then why?
Kofi. So we bought Brentford. No man double decade. Now we bought Chelsea. With this team, players a year around you. Now say 15-20.
What about Mateus? What about Mateus Cunha?
Mateus Cunha, both team bay.
No balls.
Isn't the Wolves?
No balls.
So
it means that Mateus Cunha should.
The person say, your team do or no be born or set double digita. It tells you so potential to win more. What about Chelsea? One team, I'm 30-40. I see your top 10-20.
What do you say?
Now that's in there, why? Say Adaya or qualify Chelsea Momo Kobo Champions League. And look at that. If you cover him.
And then ask my meduma. And ask my meduma.
And then they were you didn't come to the party. Jackson was so rough. No.
David, you told Jackson 30-40. I'm better Holland.
Holland. 52. plus 10 add-ons.
But then because watch that what two the to check. And I see how rich. And then games were on with Mami Marcos. Your three major games on Spanish La Liga and so Real Betis at Nefi Abo game. I'm expecting Betis to win that one. My first game no so I'm about draw. So it's a game that Manuel Pellegrini would want to win that one. To me sure. And then Ubeko Fikesim, a Friday and during quarter, get some money. I've said it several times. Say, near your bets on sometimes a day, but you don't know. So on a day like this, you need to be consistent and win. Michelle, stake these codes on the first one, a 10 plus odds, a BW C2 D6040. Next one, a 9 plus odds, a BW C2 C547C. Third one, a BW C2 80C1. And the last one, a BW C2 D7BB3. Rich, it's Michelle. That friend is saying, a pious and told Jesse Maubano, it's Michelle. Yes, Tomano.
Pious Mati, and Michelle. And the person me call. You say, dear.
Obani Jesse.
Monya, in Chelsea,
yeah, converting.
Good fellows from a Stamford Bridge mega store.
On what you Stamford Bridge one.
Odeba, me, my bar.
Good fellow.
Metiti me move, my shame, bar, many 8 years.
Nasa, all right.
But the Manchester United team be Minimbie,
or the day,
all of a sudden, I crazy on petit man, ne papa support. But Jamie Moo, I support Chelsea.
What I guess almost should go on celebrate already do it.
And your problem. No problem.
What I say?
Is it Matthias? I'm Chelsea for an Jacarano. It's